Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I want to take a quick second to introduce myself. My name's Will. I love camping, hiking, fishing. Whew, that was too fast. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'd love for you to consider hitting that subscribe button so you can come along with me on a lot of my adventures. If you clicked on this video, it's probably because you want to see my car camping setup. Now, before I show you my car camping setup, let me just tell you, if you're new to car camping, there are really three main advantages to car camping as opposed to sleeping in a tent or hammock. First, let's talk about safety. There is no doubt that sleeping in a locked car is always safer than sleeping in a tent or a hammock. You don't have to worry about predators or people. If you ever get to a point where you feel unsafe, all you have to do is just jump into the driver's seat and take off. Next, let's talk about the quality of your sleep. I really believe that the quality of your sleep, if you have the right setup, is way superior in a vehicle than in a tent or hammock. Why? Well, when you're in a car, you don't hear the sounds of the outside world, which is good and bad. For instance, I'm right next to a stream. I love the sound of water, but at the same time, if there's other people that are camping nearby and they're like listening to music or staying up late, when I'm in my tent, I just lay there. But when I'm in a car, I can't hear anything. The last advantage is really the climate control part of it, because the temperature in the vehicle is always gonna be a little bit warmer than the temperature outside the vehicle. This means if you like camping in cold weather, well, essentially what's gonna happen is it's gonna be warmer in the car, whereas if you're in a tent, it's pretty much gonna be the same temperature. If you ever get too hot or too cold, you can always just start the car up and run your AC or heat. That's a beautiful advantage. All right, now that we've gone over the three biggest advantages to car camping, let's go take a look at my setup. All right, so let's start off with the type of vehicle that I have. I have a 2022 Toyota Highlander LE. And the reason that I actually decided to get this vehicle is because it comes with 2 and 3 rows of seats. So what you can actually do is lay down the 3rd row seat and the 2nd row seat, and it doesn't create a gap or a different elevation when you're laying down back here. So let me take you further into the vehicle. So on this side of the vehicle is where the sleep system is. So let's talk about that first. So here is an REI Camp Dreamer. It is like a mixture between a air mattress and some foam. It self-inflates, and I actually did a review of this that I'll put right here in the video, so you can check out the review and see kind of the behind the scenes on how good this sleep system is or not. But what I love about this sleep system is that it's great because it extends the entire length of the car. So I'm not a very tall guy, I'm only 5'6". So this sleep system, I'm able to fit on very comfortably. Now, continuing on into the vehicle, you'll see that in the door holder, I have tissues, and then on the floor mat, I have my slippers. The reason I have this way is because I'm kind of a clean guy, and I don't really want to have dirty shoes inside my vehicle all the time. All right, now let's step over to the other side of the car. And the reason why is because if you go camping at all, you know that a cooler is a must. So this is the cooler that I have. It's a Yeti cooler. It's not one of those hook-in coolers, you know, that you hook into a power station, or one of those that have a external battery that can keep your stuff cold without ice. No, this is the way my cooler system works. And because of the cooler system, I position it this way so that I can access it from the outside. I can reach in there and grab the things that I need. Now, before I go to bed, I typically flip it around so that way it'll open up on the inside, because I may want, you know, a bottle of water or something from the cooler in the middle of the night, and I don't want to have to get out in order to access my cooler. Now, in front of the cooler, where the passenger front seat is a lot of room. So I scoot my passenger seat all the way to the front, And then I have enough stuff in here or enough room in here that I could put some extra stuff. Attached to my headrest, I have these little hook things that you can see. A friend of mine gave these to me and they're super nifty. What I do is I hang my trash bag from it so that way I don't just have trash building up in the car. Instead, I got a bag that I can put all my trash in. And then I wear hats, a lot of different hats. And so I have a little hanger for my hats right here as well. Now down here is a container where I actually use this as kind of like a little table at nighttime, which I'll show you in just a second. But in here is kind of all my goodies like food, my mess kit. I got, you know, an air pump, extra lantern, coffee, stuff like that. So I try to keep all this inside the vehicle so I don't have to worry about bears or anything like that. All right, let me show you how I get into the car. After the end of the day, I'm ready to go to sleep. It's time, you know, it's nighttime outside. What do I do when I get in the car? Well, I don't go in through the back. Some people I know like to go in through the back, but again, I want my slippers very close to where my shoes are so that way I can take off my shoes, put on my slippers. So this is how I get in. So I typically take off my shoes right here. And then I just pretty much sit down in the car. So close the door and boom, here we are. So let me show you the lights that I use. Of course, you've seen the string lights that are connected to the power station. I got just a little Yeti. I think it's like a 200 lithium. I love this power station. I've used it for years and it is fantastic. And then I hang some lanterns from the clothes hooks, you know, that are here in the car. So I got one here and one here. Now this is also a headlamp. So it's like a lantern headlamp together, which is pretty cool. And I use this one too, because in the middle of the night, if I need to go outside, I sometimes just put on a headlamp so that way I can see. Back here, so I have the cooler, as you guys have already seen. And then back here is kind of like my clothes, where I do my clothes. And I mean, other camera equipment and stuff like that is back here. So there's lots of cool features in this vehicle that make it like really ideal for car camping. The lights all over are fantastic. It's got vents in the back of the vehicle, so that way if it's cold or if it's hot and I want to just turn on air or heat in the back of the vehicle as opposed to the front of the vehicle, I can do that. Also, there's a ton of room in here. I mean, like, I got a ton of room in the back of this vehicle, which is wonderful. Something else that this vehicle has that I absolutely love are the cup holders. So I live in Georgia, right? And if you're not familiar with Georgia, it's pretty hot most of the year. So something that is pretty crucial for me is to make sure that when I'm sleeping, I always have a fan. And that's where this guy comes in. This guy is a monster of a fan, and I love this guy. Just wait, just feel it. That's on low, and that's on high. So this guy helps to keep the air circulating in the vehicle. Sometimes I put it down here, and I'll turn it on, so that way it's blowing on my body. Other times though, I will take it and put it right down here. You can actually angle it and it'll blow straight on your face while you're sleeping. So this is probably, in my opinion, one of the best setups if you're not going to build your SUV or your van out, you know, because maybe you got kids that ride in the car a lot. I know I typically have football gear or baseball gear or all different types of gear that I gotta lug around for jobs. And as a result, I don't have the ability just to rip all the seats out of the vehicle. So the question is, how can you create a camper SUV without having to build stuff? If you got other recommendations that you think would make this setup even better, put a comment below and let me know. I would love to learn a little bit from you guys and see what might make sense. So thanks so much for watching. Y'all take care. And yeah, I think I'm gonna take a nap. my head isn't even all the way at the end of this thing. I mean, it's got enough for probably somebody who's like 6'2", I would think. I mean, really. And then not only that, but if you're anything like me, I'm a side sleeper. Like, I don't really sleep on my back that much. And so if you're a side sleeper, man, it makes it so comfortable. I mean, really, it's really a great way to camp.